just to introduce myself, my name's Benjamin Gill. I work with OnePlanet. I've worked in the sustainability sector for 20 years. Prior to that, for a long time with Regional, who established the OnePlanet Living framework, and have then been working with OnePlanet.com as we spun that out from Regional and set that up. Prior to that, I studied earth science at Cambridge and did a master's in environmental technology at Imperial College. So I've been working in the sustainable field from my outset of my career. And we've got Emma with us as well.
Okay, thanks, Ben. Hi, I'm Dr. Emma Williams. My background, well, my PhD was in international relations, studying Chinese environmental governance. Looked into how the government communicates their environmental message. On finishing that, I really wanted to move away from rhetoric and think more about how we can actually help people move towards sustainability and regeneration. And that's when I joined OnePlanet.
Thank you. And the company itself was set up a few years ago, as mentioned, kind of spun out from Bioregional, which is a UK-based charity. And it's headed up by Puran Desai, who was a co-founder of Bioregional, and he has an OBE for his commitment to sustainability and has won awards in social entrepreneurship with the Skoll Foundation and various other organisations. So very strong leadership group. The goal of today is really just to introduce the platform, take you through how we use it in action planning, the product itself, and then just to look in a little bit more detail about how we use the platform as our solution service, so that when we use all of the capabilities of the platform. Just to give a kind of overview of our goal, anyone working in the environmental sector, it's pretty clear that we've moved beyond having to minimize our impact on the environment, and we actually need to be actively regenerating the planet. And we believe that collaboration is the only way to do that. We can't do that working by ourselves. And so we're trying to create software that enables the collaboration required to regenerate the planet. So a simple, if ambitious goal. And we think this links to many of the challenges we face, linked to the fact there's ever-growing regulations and standards, which, while they may drive innovation in a certain area, they can lead to a lot of paperwork, and then, probably more importantly, a lot of people focusing very much on that individual problem and looking at how they can resolve that problem, rather than looking at the full spectrum of challenges we face and how they can be contributing to resolving all of those issues. So that's where we think the platform can help, both in the ways of helping you plan better, so helping make better decisions, be more strategic in focusing on where your biggest impact can be, collaborate more effectively, both internally within your organization, but I think more excitingly outside of your organization. How can we collaborate with our key stakeholders to start delivering on shared outcomes and achieving a shared vision? And then to improve reporting, make it more efficient, and increase the impact of our communication. The platform has kind of two elements to it. Today, we're focusing very much on the left, the web application for environmental and social governance planning and reporting tool. But we've also developed a mobile app for communication and engagement, which we use with community groups or within companies. And in that, kind of most simply, can be viewed as like a closed Facebook group, but all of the information that's on the app is curated and therefore trusted information. So we want it to be a source of trusted information. People provide some information about themselves, and then the app uses machine learning to feed them more information and take them on a sustainability educational journey. But it is linked to the planning and reporting tool, so we can feed in stories from the company or from the city or from where you're linked to actually make it as relevant as possible. So to kind of drive the engagement for the user. built into there are many sustainability frameworks out there. I'm sure you're aware of them all, or many of them. OnePlanet.com obviously uses the OnePlanet Living framework, which was developed by Bioregional. And we've also built into it the UN Sustainable Development Goals, but we can build any framework into the platform, and have built in and are building an increasing number of them, so that whatever your kind of industry framework is, or whatever your audience is used to hearing, you can actually just express your sustainability strategy using that framework, as well as One Planet Living and the Sustainable Development Goals. I think most of you mentioned you'd watched the video, but that really gives the basics of the platform, the way we use outcomes, actions, and indicators to create an action plan. And we want the action plan to be really outcome led. So focusing on what you want to achieve. There's a real tendency to dive into what we're doing and what can be done and how we're going to track that. But we want to drive the process by what it is that we want to achieve, what we think we need to achieve, and then focus on the connections. What are the actions that we can take to achieve that? But what actions will link to many outcomes? That have a recommended process for creating an action plan, looking at your background impact, using a visioning workshop, and then creating your plan. Bioregional actually run training in that, and we'll send you more information on that for anyone who's interested after the webinar. There are different types of accounts. Most of you mentioned you'd set up an account. So there is a free account, which enables you to create a single plan with 30 outcomes, actions, and indicators. There's a basic account where you can get twice as many actions, outcomes, and indicators, and then a pro account where you can have multiple users, multiple plans, and you also get the Sustainable Development Goals. And then for people who want to use the platform as a consultancy tool, you can create a consultancy account that actually enables you to set up accounts for your clients, to develop plans for them and to manage them, and then as required to hand them over to your client, or to carry on managing them into the long term. So the platform itself, I'm going to take you through all of these elements now, but really one of the key functionalities is creating a really engaging way of creating and then managing an action plan that brings out what you're doing and makes that into news you can share with your key stakeholders. So in the platform itself, there are 3 ways of viewing and uploading the information. So there's a mind map view, which is where we do our kind of planning and look at the plan strategically. There's the table view, which is much more for managing your plan, and then the document view for reporting on progress if you need to create documents of annual reports. So the platform itself, on the mind map view, has a very simple way of operating. You can just click on the outcomes, the actions, and indicator icons on the left-hand side. The information pops up, and you put in your information and plant it onto the platform, and then are able to link up your actions to the specific outcome. When you link up information using the link icon, this isn't just creating a nice picture. It does help represent all of the information in an engaging and understandable way, but actually it's how the data is organized. So when you then create a report, or when you want to investigate specific outcomes in more detail, it will look at all of the information that you have linked to that outcome. So it is actually the data structure of the platform itself. In the table view, just highlighting here the way you can change between different what we call lenses. So using the One Planet Living lens or the Sustainable Development Goal, or if you have other ones, other lenses as well. And here you can You can view all of the information. It is a list, more like an Excel, attach a source, actions. If you've allocated actions to people, you can see who's responsible for actions and the status of those actions as well. And this is how you manage an action in a bit more detail. So once you've created an action, you can give a status to it, whether it's in progress or completed, a completion date, and you can allocate it to an individual so that they can then see what are all the actions that they are responsible for. And then you can track your progress. So you can give progress updates. You can give, when you've implemented part of an action, you can make a small update. And then when you've reached a major milestone, you can create a story and use that as a way of kind of celebrating your success. And these stories can be posted straight to the document view, so straight into a report. They can be posted to the app. So when you're engaging with your staff, with your community, you can be pushing these stories to them. And we're working on being able to post those to social media, to our website, to your website, to be able to get this news coming out in a ongoing and engaging fashion. And then for kind of monitoring indicators, we can upload data for tracking progress, and when we get a lot of data, we can also then just link to an external source. So if you've got a cloud-based spreadsheet and you're monitoring all of your data there, you can link directly to that to view the information, and we'll be able to pull information in from that into the platform as well. And then looking at the document view, so that this will create take all of that information and put it into a document for you. On the more advanced accounts, you get a date filter, so you can set the date parameters of your report. If you want a monthly report or an annual report, you can just set those date parameters and run that off. And you can then also here change between the different lenses. So if you want to have a report with the Sustainable Development Goals, if you click on that, you will then see the Sustainable Development Goals, the report restructured using the Sustainable Development Goals. And the report can be in two formats, either a list against all the principles or linked to the specific outcomes, which just highlights how the data is organized. Wherever you've linked an action or an indicator to an outcome, the report can be structured in that fashion as well. And once you've created your action plan, you can then publish your plan directly to the website and start sharing that with your stakeholders. Just to look at the different accounts. So if you have the Pro account, that's the most advanced single account. Then you can have more than one plan. So you can click on two plans here and set up another plan. And you can also invite another person to collaborate on the plan. So it's really for organizations that want to have multiple users on the plan. If you've got a consultancy or package, then that will look slightly different. You will have a client's card, which will allow you to create, in effect, an account for each client and to establish plans within that folder. I'm just going to finish up with looking at some of the more advanced features that are not available on the basic accounts, but really highlight how the platform allows us to collaborate with other organizations. And the key part of that is our ecosystem accounts. We're also working to set up dashboards, so you can identify specific indicators that you want to put on your own dashboard and have that information available to you as soon as you log in, or if you've got multiple projects, to have a folder with all of your projects in a single place. So just to explain the vision ecosystem, this allows you to create a shared vision and then to invite other organizations to adopt your shared vision and to connect key outcomes and to build their action plan around those shared outcomes. So you create a shared vision which uses the same interface as the action plan, except you only have outcomes and indicators because it's a vision. It's not an action plan. You set what you see as the key outcomes as shared outcomes, and then you invite other people to adopt those. And then you're able to see which organizations have adopted those indicators. So on the left, we can see that these three organizations have adopted the zero carbon energy outcome. And we can then actually visit those plans. We can look at all the organizations that have adopted outcomes from the shared vision. So we can begin to see how all of these organizations are working together to deliver that same shared vision. And we can, when we start posting stories, for example, we can start sharing that with all of those organizations. So we can build a sense that we're not working on our own, we are working together to achieve the set of shared outcomes and the shared vision. And we can also then dive in more into a specific outcome and look at all of the actions and indicators that all of the people that are in the network are delivering to deliver on that shared outcome. And we then use that ecosystem account as our solution service with larger organizations, where we can create shared indicators as well for monitoring across organizations. We can create departments with multiple plans within departments, all linked to one central vision, and then we're able to report across all of those projects pull information into a single report automatically, so that people can get that information out into a single report straight away. So that's my presentation. If you have questions, if you can please pop them in the chat, that would be great, and I'll respond to them.
We have one question from Andrea in the chat.
I saw that one. Yeah, so Andrea, Andrea asked, do you approve entities before they connect to your vision? Yes, you invite people are asked to be connected to your shared vision, and then you give them permission. So it's not automatically. So now this is the same plan, but on the platform itself. So just showing how you can. To begin with, you can switch between the One Planet Living principles or the Sustainable Development Goals and view the plan against the different principles. If we create a new outcome or a new action against contributing to a culture of sustainability, so we're going to run some sustainability events. So that's related to responsible consumption and production. We're using the Sustainable Development Goals. That'll be added to the platform, and then we're able to link that directly to whichever outcome we think it applies to. And then, having set up the action, we can look at it in more detail when it's settled, and then we can start adding additional information on who's responsible for that. I think we'll make Emma responsible for that and tell her that she needs to finish it by tomorrow, and that it's in progress. And you can then also add additional data. So on the tab below, so you can add progress updates and stories, and they would also go into the report itself. Are there any questions on that? Annette had a question about cost. What is the cost to the client once the vision is handed over? So yeah, sorry, I didn't mention the costs on the ecosystem plan. So the vision ecosystem that I showed you is free. So you can create a simple vision ecosystem account for free. You need to contact us to set that up. There's no ongoing cost. If you want ongoing support, then there is a cost for that. In the same way that we have a free, basic, and professional individual account, for the ecosystem accounts, there's a free account. There's what we call an impact ecosystem account, where you're able to set up multiple plans within that. And then there's the advanced service, where you have departments, shared indicators, etc., which is the service we provide directly to people.
I think what I was referring to is, from a consultancy, if they hand it over to a client, what is how does that work with the client kind of taking over that vision and, kind of delivering it?
They would just need to have the right account. So if it was a very small plan, it could be a free account. If it's larger, so more than 60 actions, outcomes, and indicators, they need the pro account, which is $100 a year, and then they can have 2 people who can manage that. Just so the table view has the same information, but we can look in outcomes and indicators. So actually, with the action, hopefully now we will see, run sustainability events. So we just created that action that's now in the table view. We'll need to apply that to a OnePlanet Living Principle as well. And then if we look at the document view, this is where we can set the date. We can say we want all data. We can apply that. And that it takes all of that information and puts it into a document format for us. But if we find out that the local authority, they're using the Sustainable Development Goals, and they would like to see that information in a different format, then we can just change the structure of the report, still all data, so that it's now structured by the Sustainable Development Goals, and all it's done is reorder the information, but it means that we can start communicating to people using whatever language they are used to hearing. Ian is asking about how many people can be allowed access to a plan. So within the Pro account, you can have 2 people who can edit a plan. Within a consultancy account, you can have up to 5 consultants, and you can then invite people from the organization to use it, but they would all be editors. You can have any number of viewers of a plan, so you can invite people to view it, and actually I'll show you in a minute. So they would then be able to view the plan but not be able to edit it. Tim's asked for just about further training, if that's correct. So yes, we have this introductory training. We also then run masterclasses for people who want to learn really about applying the platform to a project, and particularly if it's a slightly more complex project. If you get in contact with us directly, we can point that out to you. I'll just show you now separately the ecosystem platform. Do keep firing away with questions. So this is the vision ecosystem. So the dashboard looks similar to when you log into it to an ordinary account, but you have an ecosystem plan and your shared outcomes and connections. So your ecosystem plan looks the same as an action plan, except there are just outcomes and indicators. There are no actions. And you create your plan, and I mean, on the free account only allows you to share outcomes. So if we create a new outcome, we see here we can set it as a shared outcome. That will mean that we can allow other people to adopt it. yeah, our recommendation is that you keep a shared vision really simple, that there are shared outcomes that people can understand and relate to, and want to adopt, and keep it quite limited. So we've kept it to a limited to 20 shared outcomes that you can share with an organization, so that it's not overwhelming for people. And then going back onto the dashboard, you can look at the connections, so who is connected to a plan. That up here. So all of these organizations have connected to this plan. So we can see that the Marine Discovery Center has got a plan. We can view that plan. And in this case, I know that that I'm not an editor of the plan. So if I view it, although I can see all of the information on the plan, all of the outcomes, actions, indicators are all grayed out because I'm not able to edit it. So everyone within the network can view plans, but only if you're an editor do you have permission to edit them. Joey was just asking about languages. Yes, currently it's only available in English. We would definitely like to move into different languages, but at the moment we've only built it in English.
And there's a few more questions. Do you want to go through them now, or do you want to wait until after the end of the live demo?
So I'm going through them now. Thank you. Yes. So do the reports have graphic capabilities? So we can put in all of the information that you've uploaded into the platform. So all the data, the stories, the progress updates. You can also upload charts. Charts and graphs from an Excel into the platform, and then they go into the report. You can download the report as a PDF, and then if you have a PDF editor, then you can edit it there. You can also download it as a Word document, but that isn't able to import all of the stories information in the same way. So you need to be able to have a PDF editor to update the report. But yes, you can do that. Someone's asked about whether if you allocate an action or an indicator to a OnePlanet Living principle, whether it automatically allocates to a specific sustainable development goal. No, you have to allocate it to each. You have to allocate that yourself, which is most easily done just in the table view. So if you create a new action, outcome, or indicator, you can then simply, here we've got sweet cakes. They're definitely for health and happiness. We allocate that to that principle. So you have to do that automatically, just because although there is much alignment between them, there is not a direct overlap. So for example, there's no kind of waste category in the Sustainable Development Goals. So where you would put that, it might be infrastructure, or it might be about behavior, which is more responsible consumption and production. So so that's the main reason. I think that's all the questions.
There's one right at the top from Daniel. Has the mapping been piloted with non-professionals, i.e. lays, and not yet engaged?
So yes, yes and no. I mean, we've been working with schools, with businesses who are not sustainability orientated businesses. So with restaurants, hotels. So actually on the shared shared platform here, we can see that most of the organizations are hotels and restaurants, and they're not sustainability organizations. So yeah, to a degree, yes, but not with the unengaged, so to speak. They are people that are all interested in sustainability.